Hi everyone, I'm RJ and I want to talk about Betrayal, but first some housekeeping. I'm going to change the format of this series just a little bit because I think it'll be better, but I'll explain it when I get there. On to whatever this is. Last time I talked about a thing I call soft moments in stories, but not all storytelling has to be done in moments like that. For example, conflict is a really strong driver of stories. Today I want to talk about Betrayal as a strong story moment through the game Persona 5. Just a heads up, this is my all-time favorite game, so this is 100% biased. Anyway, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goro Akechi is a lunatic. I'm of the camp that believes he's unforgivable, but that doesn't mean he isn't a compelling character. You can have a bad guy who's a good character. They don't have to be a good guy. Akechi's actions are explained well by his past, but the part of him that drives the story moment is his maniacal demeanor during his final battle, the last time we really see him. Throughout the whole story, he's calm and collected, even jokes around with Sai, even if it's a little grating to her. It shows he's not just a crazy person, he can be kind, he can be funny. Even when killing Joker, Akechi only shows a small amount of his derangement, but remains fairly calm and even holds off on explaining his entire plan, because a good villain doesn't monologue. And then the final battle happens. Akechi shows his tricks and the berserker ability he's been hiding and his true persona being Loki, and I love this so much since it's exactly what you'd expect from a manipulative sociopath. He makes others go crazy and do what he wants. He also begins to unravel more and more when he realizes that even if Joker has his powers, he isn't like Akechi due to morality and their circumstances and having the right people around him. Just compare their two, for lack of a better term, father figures. For Akechi, it's Shido, who's a piece of shit, but Joker has Sojiro, who's just awesome. Anyone would want a dad like Sojiro. Not to mention, Akechi was literally used and abused by Shido to becoming a puppet for political gain. He's kind of bound to be a little messed up from that. And here's where I want to try something different from last time. There's no reason for me to tell you how something inspires my writing, because everyone's inspired by something, and I mean, I'm just someone. But I've always had a really good knack for picking up stuff I've read and adding it to my writing in the sense of a style. So that's what I want to do here today. I want to give you some tips on how to add a good betrayal to your writing. Alright, I think there's multiple ways to do a betrayal, but this example uses two specific components: an unreliable narrator and a hint of betrayal. Throughout Persona, they kind of have the forced unreliable narrator where Joker literally doesn't remember what's happening. And in your book, it's pretty easy to do that, but I'll explain. The narrator does not have to catch on to the fact that they'll be betrayed, but if you have a character that's supposed to be smart or be able to find clues, it wouldn't make sense that they don't know that someone's trying to betray them. That's where the hint comes in. Readers and players like feeling like they've outsmarted someone, especially the makers of the game. By having hints here and there throughout the story, it lets the reader catch on to the fact that there may be betrayal. That's the pancake moment. The pancake moment from Persona is the primary hint. That's what everything should have, a primary hint. And there's secondary hints here and there that you catch on to, but that's not as important. And don't make it too obvious, of course, because you still want it to be a surprise. You don't want it to make it so every little thing Betrayal does is obvious, but they might do things behind the scenes that affect the protagonist, like a butterfly effect. This kind of betrayal has to walk a fine line between obvious and surprising. It can't come out of nowhere because that would feel like a cop-out. You can't have a random guy who doesn't really have much relation to the protagonist or even the antagonist come in and betray them. If an antagonist's henchman pulls betrayal, that I think can be done well if they have been a core part of the story and then suddenly they're like, I'm actually a good guy. I think that can be done well. But you can't have the antagonist's henchman who has never interacted with the protagonist be like, I betrayed you. I just wouldn't work. It also can't be obvious because that makes the whole scene pointless. You can't make it so obvious that the villain is the villain, because then when the betrayal scene happens, if someone's reading, they'll literally just, I would be surprised, just pass over those pages until they catch something new when they're like, oh yeah, I figured this guy was the bad guy, what's the point of this? But that's just my 2 cents. If you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you around.